Most people spend their entire lives running on autopilot, pleasing everyone, reacting to everything, spinning in circles, trying to be everything for everyone, and in the process, forgetting the one person they were born to master, themselves. But there comes a moment, silent, sharp, undeniable, when you wake up and realize you've been living outside of yourself, chasing expectations that were never yours to begin with, measuring your value by applause, weighing your worth by the number of people who accept you. And in that chase, you abandon the one place your strength was meant to be built within. You want to become mentally strong? Then stop outsourcing your power. Stop letting the world decide when you're enough. Because here's the raw, uncomfortable truth. No one is coming to crown you. They're too busy trying to survive their own chaos. And even if they did notice you, their approval wouldn't build you. Their praise won't make you unbreakable. The only thing that does is mastering the battlefield between your own ears. Mental strength isn't born in the spotlight. It's forged in the fire of discipline, in the silence of self-reflection, in the moments when no one claps, no one sees, and you still rise anyway. Think of every legendary mind in history. Frederick Douglass didn't wait for freedom to find him. He trained his intellect in secret, read by candlelight, strengthened his mind while the world told him he didn't deserve one. Eleanor Roosevelt didn't wait to be invited to speak. She trained herself to stand tall, even when her voice shook. They became unshakable, not because of what they gained, but because of what they chose to let go of. And that's your first choice. Let go of distraction. We live in an age where everyone's watching everyone else. Scroll after scroll, opinion after opinion. And every second your focus is stolen by someone else's journey, you lose traction on your own. Stop handing your mind to the algorithm. Stop renting your attention to gossip, to arguments, to every beep and buzz that interrupts your peace. Because what you focus on, you feed. And what you feed becomes your mindset. And your mindset becomes your life. Focus on yourself, not out of arrogance, not out of selfishness, but out of alignment. Because if the foundation is cracked, the castle will collapse. Most people live in reaction mode. Every insult derails them. Every delay defeats them. Every opinion redirects them. But the mentally strong, they don't react. They respond from a place of clarity, of calm, of conviction. Because when you focus inward, when you train your attention like a laser, not a floodlight, something happens. You stop being a puppet. You start becoming the architect. Clarity sharpens, discipline hardens, and your inner world, once scattered and noisy, becomes a fortress. And don't let this world fool you. Busyness is not strength. Hustle is not purpose. Activity is not progress. You can run in circles and still go nowhere. Mental strength begins with stillness. It begins with the decision to turn down the volume of the world and turn up the volume of your soul. Do you even remember what your own voice sounds like? Not the voice conditioned by fear or the one that mimics the crowd, but the one that speaks from within, the one that tells you the truth, even when it hurts. Listen to it. That voice will never lead you wrong, but you'll never hear it while you're distracted. You'll never hear it while you're addicted to being needed, liked, or seen. You'll never hear it while you're numbing your thoughts with entertainment and applause. Mental strength is the discipline to sit in silence and still stay grounded. It's the ability to walk away from noise and find direction within. It's what Thomas Edison did when he built an empire from persistence. It's what Rosa Parks did when she chose to sit down and made the world stand up. They weren't reacting. They were grounded, anchored, mentally fortified. Because here's the truth, the world will always test you. It will throw storms at you. It will delay your dreams. It will criticize your efforts. And if your strength isn't built from within, it will shake you. It will crack you. It will pull you under. But if you've trained your mind, if you've focused your energy, if you've done the hard, silent work of becoming the kind of person who doesn't flinch, who doesn't bend, who doesn't need validation to keep going, Then you become something rare, unshakable, unstoppable, unforgettable. Mental strength is not loud. It doesn't scream for recognition. It doesn't need to prove itself. It doesn't argue with critics or chase praise from the crowd. True strength walks in silence, and it walks with power. You can see it in the way a person moves, not rushed, not reactive, just focused, deliberate, anchored. That strength is available to you, but you must build it, brick by brick, thought by thought, choice by choice. You build it in the moments when no one is watching, when it's 5 a.m. and your bed is warm, but your purpose is calling. When the world says rest and your future says rise. When doubt creeps in like a whisper and you speak back with truth. Because strength is not a gift, it's a construction project. And the first step of that construction is radical focus. Focus is the foundation. Without it, nothing stands. A scattered mind can't build a stable life. A reactive mind can't build a visionary future. So you must take your focus back from every thief that's been stealing it. From the notifications, the scrolling, the mindless conversations, the pointless distractions, take it back. Then direct it inward. Start asking yourself the questions that matter. Who am I becoming? What do I believe in? What am I tolerating that's weakening me? And what am I feeding that needs to starve? Because whatever you allow, you teach. And every time you allow distraction to win, every time you give your power away to people, to opinions, to laziness, you're teaching your mind that comfort matters more than clarity. But when you focus on yourself, not just once, not just when things fall apart, but as a lifestyle, everything starts to align. You start walking with purpose. You start making decisions from conviction, not convenience. And suddenly your energy changes. People feel it before you say a word. Rooms quiet when you walk in, not because you demand it, but because you're carrying something rare, inner power. You become the calm in the chaos, the steady in the storm. And that's not arrogance, that's earned confidence. Confidence built from hours of self-discipline, from days of delayed gratification, from weeks and months and years of showing up for yourself when it would have been easier to quit. This is why mental strength isn't about pretending to be tough. It's about becoming so deeply anchored in who you are that nothing external can shake your internal world. And if you want to reach that level, then stop looking for shortcuts, because shortcuts are the enemy of strength. They promise ease and deliver weakness. You must do the work. You must train your mind like a warrior trains his sword every single day. You must become your own coach, your own motivator, your own lifter of weights when life gets heavy. And when it does get heavy, as it will, you won't collapse, because you built yourself to carry it. You built yourself to lead yourself. That is the ultimate power. Not leading a company and not leading a crowd, but leading you, your thoughts, your focus, your direction. Because if you can't lead yourself, nothing else matters. You will forever be at the mercy of life's winds, tossed from one emotion to the next, always reacting, never commanding. But when you focus on yourself truly, deeply, unapologetically, you take back the helm. You stop being the passenger, you become the captain. And now you're steering, now you're building, now you're rising. Let me know when you're ready for the next section, and I'll continue the flow. And once you start rising, really rising, don't expect a parade. Don't expect applause. Don't even expect support. Because here's the part most people don't tell you. The climb is quiet. The air gets thinner. The crowd gets smaller. And the higher you go, the more silence you'll meet. But that's where the mentally strong thrive, in the silence, in the solitude, in the space where there's no noise to distract and no echo to validate. Because when you reach that level of inner focus, you're no longer fueled by being seen. You're fueled by the mission, the purpose, the quiet, unrelenting knowing that you're becoming someone you can respect. That's mental strength. Not a perfect life, not a curated image, but a solid spine, a fierce mind, a grounded soul. It's when you stop needing the world to agree with you. It's when you stop fearing rejection because you've already accepted yourself. It's when you walk away from what's popular and lean into what's purposeful. And it's not easy. The road is narrow, it's steep, it's long. But every step is building something permanent. And here's what no distraction can offer you: self-respect. Every time you show up for yourself, especially when it's hard, you earn it. Every early wake-up, every disciplined choice, every time you sit with discomfort instead of running from it. That's a deposit in the bank of your self-respect. And one day, when you're tempted to quit, when everything feels heavy, when doubt knocks and fear screams and the world tells you to take the easy way out, you'll stand firm because your roots are deep, your identity isn't in question, and your focus isn't negotiable. That's when you know you've become mentally strong, not because you've avoided pain, but because pain no longer owns you. You faced it, you've walked through it, and you didn't crumble. You grew. That's the fire you must walk through, not around, through. You want confidence? Walk through the fire. You want clarity? Sit in the fog until your soul learns to see without your eyes. You want peace? Let go of every lie that told you peace comes from perfection. It doesn't. Peace comes from power, inner power. And that power is born the moment you say, I will no longer betray myself. Not for comfort, not for approval, not even for love, because self-betrayal is the quickest way to mental weakness. You start giving little pieces of yourself away to make others feel better, to avoid conflict, to feel accepted, and before you know it, you're hollow. But when you focus on yourself, when you reclaim your energy, your standards, your truth, then you're no longer hollow. You're whole. You don't need to prove yourself anymore. You just live aligned. Your yes means something. Your no means something. Your time becomes sacred. Your vision becomes sharp. Your presence becomes powerful. And your life becomes a reflection of your discipline. That's what this world is missing. Not more noise, more people who are whole. Let me know when you're ready to continue, and I'll pick up right where we left off. But let's be honest. This path isn't always noble and poetic. Sometimes it's gritty, sometimes it's lonely. Sometimes the most courageous thing you'll do all week is get out of bed and try again. Mental strength doesn't look like a superhero standing on a mountain. It looks like you dragging yourself through the mud of your own doubt and still saying, I'm not done yet. It's ugly, it's hard, it's personal, but it's real. And that kind of realness is rare, because we're living in a time where everyone's pretending to be strong while quietly falling apart, where people chase appearance over substance, where resilience is replaced by reaction. But if you can be the one who focuses, the one who endures, who sharpens, who takes the long road, you separate yourself from the noise, and you become the exception. You become the one who doesn't fold under pressure, but becomes forged by it. That's what separates the powerful from the passive. Look at Nelson Mandela, locked in a cell for 27 years. He didn't get to shape his circumstances, but he shaped his mind. He left prison a free man, not because they opened the gate, but because he had already unlocked his own soul from bitterness, from hate, from reaction. That's mental strength, and you have that same potential, but you must train it, not once, not when you feel like it, every single day. Train your responses, train your focus, train your speech. The way you talk to yourself when you're tired, that's a rep. The way you handle disappointment, that's a rep. The way you say no to comfort and yes to discipline, that's a rep. Every rep adds weight to your mental frame. And the heavier your frame, the more life you can lift. Because here's the truth. Life doesn't get lighter, but you can get stronger. You can get steadier. You can become the kind of person who doesn't crumble when the storm hits, because the storm will come. That's not a maybe. It's a certainty. But the question is, will you be ready? Will you have spent the time building your foundation, laying the bricks of daily discipline, of silence, of vision? Because if not, you'll fall. But if you have, you'll rise. You'll bend, but you won't break. You'll hurt, but you'll keep going. You'll doubt, but you won't quit. Because mental strength isn't the absence of weakness. It's the decision to keep moving, even when weakness whispers. So today, right now, decide, will I continue to scatter my energy? Will I keep chasing applause, running from pain, reacting to life like a puppet? Or will I take it all back? My energy, my focus, my power, my responsibility? Will I reclaim myself, not just as a person, but as a force? Because that's what you are when you're focused. A force. A force doesn't wait for permission. It doesn't pause for applause. It doesn't shrink to make others comfortable, and it moves deliberately, decisively, and without apology. And that's exactly what happens when you focus on yourself with intention. You become undeniable, not because of how loud you are, but because of how aligned you are. You move in rhythm with purpose. And here's what's wild. The more focused you become, the less distracted you are by outcomes. The less obsessed you are with winning or failing. The more detached you become from timelines, applause, and comparison. Because the mentally strong have learned something the world hasn't. You don't need to control the outcome to command the process. The process is your domain. The routine, the rituals, the mindset, the effort, the decision to do the thing, even when it's inconvenient, invisible, or unrewarded. That's what makes you unshakable. Because if you only train when you feel inspired, you'll never grow. But if you train because it's who you are, you'll rise whether the sun's shining or not. Look at the greats. Serena Williams didn't dominate tennis because she played only when it was fun. She built herself through decades of routine. Tiger Woods didn't become Tiger by playing in tournaments. He became Tiger in the thousands of unseen hours on the range, hitting the same shot over and over again until excellence became his default. That's what mental strength looks like. Consistency in the dark, the reps no one sees, the decisions no one applauds, the standards you uphold when no one's checking. It's in the moments where you could cut corners but don't, where you could justify quitting but stay, where you could lie to yourself but instead you tell the truth, and that truth becomes your compass. It guides your day, it shapes your habits, it strengthens your core, and now when life tests you, you don't panic, you don't crumble, you just execute. Because you've trained for this. You've conditioned your mind. You've built systems that hold you when motivation leaves. And it will leave. Don't rely on it. Rely on systems. Rely on discipline. Rely on the version of you that you've designed. Not the one the world wants. Not the one your fear wants. The one your highest self demands. And the only way to become that person? Focus. Relentless, daily, unshakable focus. On your habits, on your values, on your vision. Cut the noise, guard your energy, sharpen your standards. And when the world pulls at you with temptation, with distractions, with the false comfort of mediocrity, you'll say no. Not because you're better, but because you're building something bigger. You're building you. Because at the end of the day, it's not about being better than anyone else. It's about being better than the version of you that settled. The version that made excuses, that waited for the right time. That shrank when it was time to rise. That said, maybe later instead of right now. That's the battle you fight, not against the world, but against the weaker self you used to be. And every day, with every focused breath, every disciplined decision, every powerful inner dialogue, you defeat that old self. You bury it, and you outgrow it. And in its place, a new identity takes form, the identity of a leader, of a builder, of a warrior, not by birthright, but by conscious creation. And when you live like that, when your life becomes the evidence of your standards, you don't have to talk about your mindset. People will feel it. You walk into a room and shift the atmosphere, not because you demand attention, but because you carry authority. And that authority, it's rooted in one thing of focus. Focus gave you clarity. Clarity gave you direction. Direction gave you discipline. Discipline gave you structure. Structure gave you strength. And strength gave you freedom. Not freedom from hard things, but freedom to face them with power. This is the ultimate gift of mental strength. It doesn't remove adversity. It makes you unstoppable in spite of it. You're no longer blown around by every challenge, every critic, every chaotic turn of the world. Because you are anchored. You're not chasing anything. You're becoming everything. And that's when you realize this whole time you were never lacking potential. You were leaking focus. And the moment you stopped that leak, the moment you said, my energy belongs to me now, my time, my thoughts, my vision, they serve my future, not my fears. That's when everything changed. So if you're still waiting for a sign, for someone to show up and push you forward, let this be it. You don't need more time, you need more alignment. You don't need permission, and you need precision. You don't need applause. You need standards that don't shrink. Because once you focus on yourself with obsession, with intention, with unbreakable consistency, you become undeniable. Not someday, not when it's easier, not when they finally notice, but today, right now, you become mentally stronger the moment you decide to. So decide, lead yourself, speak life to yourself, build yourself. And the world won't know what hit it, because when you focus inward, everything outward begins to fall into place. And that version of you, that future you, it's not a fantasy. It's already in motion. Because today, you chose focus. And focus, my friend, is the beginning of all power. Now go, live it, be it, own it.